Well, we made it to Malta, and we're so thankful to have gotten in under the wire. We learned that they closed their borders due to a COVID case surge mere days after our departure.
Great sunrise this morning as we leave Fontaine Bianchi. I love the sort of like curve things going on with that those clouds. We haven't seen a lot of sunrises and sunsets. It's been really hazy the last week to 10 days, so great to see some of this come back. And this is the harbor of Fontaine Bianchi. It's kind of a horseshoe-shaped little cove. Didn't seem like it would have a lot of protection from the chart, but it was fairly well protected, but still had some breeze in the anchorage, which we really welcomed to kind of knock down the heat a bit. We are passing by the southeastern tip of Sicily on the way to Malta. And this is Capo Passero, the cape off that point. And it's actually a little island off of there. And this is the Forta di Capo Passero, built apparently in the 1600s by the Spaniards to defend against Turkish Barbary pirates. And then it was used for a prison for a while, centuries later, and now it's all but abandoned. So, cool fort, and there's a lighthouse, taller lighthouse in the background there. A light actually on the fort, but I don't think that was working last night. We go around further down here, and we got about 50, 60 miles to go to get down to Malta, over the horizon there.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome to Life 4.0, where we share our adventures of life aboard our sailboat as we explore this amazing planet, one anchorage at a time.
This summer, we're crossing much of the Mediterranean, from Greece to Italy, Malta, Spain, including out through Gibraltar Strait, then along the Portuguese coast before we finish the summer in the Galicia area of northwest Spain. Just crossed over the line in the water between Italy and Malta, so Tom's going to raise the Maltese flag. On the right side of the mast, you raise a courtesy flag of the country you are visiting, and so we take down the Italian flag. And we raise the Maltese. Go. Ready to clear into Malta. Our first night, we anchored off Camino Island, settling in just before sunset.
It's the island of Gozo in the distance there. We may be coming into that marina next couple days. We're supposed to get some high winds. Really clear day. This is like one of the clearest days we've seen in probably 2 weeks. And this is the island of Camino, small little island between Gozo and the main island on Malta. And we are going right around the corner here to a place called the Blue Lagoon, which is super popular with visiting boats. And we're trying to get over there early, people said, to get there early before it gets too crowded. So we left our anchorage at 7 in the morning, and we get to have this beautiful morning light. Several different anchorages here for the Blue Lagoon. This looks like the first one coming up here, northern part. Blue Lagoon on the island of Camino in Malta. You're in company with lots of other boats and an old Spanish fort way up there in the hill that may get a drone flying around it later today.
Malta. One could thoroughly enjoy this country if they experienced nothing other than the natural beauty. Though why would you want to do that when the fortified capital city of Valletta has so much appeal and the history is so incredibly rich?
All right, we are headed out to Valletta today from Gozo. We decided to hire out the job to the fast ferry here, and instead of taking the boat down. So it'll be a 15-mile trip down to Valletta. Instead, we took 45 minutes on the ferry, so we're having a little outing day to sightsee, and looking forward to it.
Strategically located roughly on the east-west center of the Mediterranean Sea, Malta has a long and complicated history, almost equidistant between the coast of northern Africa and the mainland of Europe. It was bound to have significant involvement in the geopolitical struggles that have so defined this region over the thousands of years that humans have existed here. Add to this the fact that Malta also sits between the Suez Canal and the Gibraltar Strait, and you gain an understanding of the economic importance of Malta's location on this major shipping channel. Just look at the succession of rulers of this archipelago. Obviously, this beautiful land has great value in its location. And Malta remains significant today, though not nearly as strategic as it was during the First and Second World Wars, as I'll talk more about as you watch the firing of the noonday gun salute recorded from the battery high atop Grand Harbor in the capital city of Valletta in Malta. Malta was ruled by the British during World War II, and in the early days of the war, it was home to the Allied Navy Command Center. Planning for the Allied siege of German-controlled Sicily was done from the underground bunkers far below the city streets of Valletta. More bombs were dropped on this small island group during World War II than on any other place on Earth. The Allied forces were still able to hold Malta, though the cost was significant. Much has been written about this time and place in history, and I'll provide links to some of the resources in the video description.
We are going into the Lascaris war rooms, which is where they commanded the war effort Britain and America did during World War II in the Med. So it's underground, away from the attacks of the Germans and the Italians. And it's also nice and cool.
These are the very rooms used for communications, for tracking Allied and enemy Navy assets, and for planning naval campaigns. The regularly updated map on the wall can be seen from workrooms and offices spanning 2 floors. The tabletop interactive map was managed by a group of women who kept ship and even aircraft locations and statuses up to date as new communications came in. Their job was plotting accurate locations, so fighters engaged in ongoing battle had the best information available. They were known as the Ladies of Lascaris, and their work saved lives and kept war assets available for another day. There's definitely a lot of neat art around. There's this cool piece that looks like a piece of coral. It's sitting right off of this Castile plaza, or Plaza de Castile. On the top of the hill in Valletta. Looks like there's a little plaza over there, and I think this might be an elevator that lets people get up and down from the waterfront. We just discovered the Maltese Stock Exchange. It's all in that building over there. It's pretty cute.
Yep.
Right up on top of this hill. Our time in the city of Valletta had to include an evening. The buildings, fortifications, statues, and streets are beautifully lit up, and the energy of the crowds of people invigorating. We boarded our return ferry just before midnight to head back to the island of Gozo, where Sea Rose was waiting for us. This is the moat that we walked through earlier. It's in between these two huge castle walls, and they landscape this just beautifully. And all around here you can see there's restaurants and everything's lit up really well. There's this bridge that goes over this moat, and at the end over here is this beautiful fountain. We have a couple more natural sights to fit in before we depart this great country. The southern coast of the island of Gozo is stunning.
We are coming along the west coast of Gozo in Malta and just saw these beautiful tall cliffs come into view as we came back from down there. Beautiful spot here. We're going up to what's called the inland sea. There's a passage through the rocks to a kind of inland little lake. You're gonna find that anchor nearby there, hopefully. But in the meantime, get this incredible view.
Each time we approached a turn, we were met with additional beauty. These cliffs stretched on and on as we made our way towards the west coast, and a couple circular harbors, each known for unique attributes, as you'll see. So I'm pretty sure that this circular thing up here is the inland sea. And there's a dinghy entrance to it that we're gonna try to find. There's a place to anchor over here. This is a pretty cool area.
All right, we made it into Duardra Bay, and it's got this great sort of rock island at the entrance, in otherwise very circular harbor. Got a couple boats here with us, but you can see it's almost perfectly circular. And then we're safely in here, about 10 meters of depth all around, and we're hoping to get a little bit of protection from this island here with the hole in it. So Duardra Bay, kind of a hard one to pronounce, but good safe spot while we explore with the dinghy.
We just dinghied through the tunnel from the ocean into this placid little cove. This is the inland sea. The name is a bit of a stretch, but it was still a sweet cove offering incredible charm and shelter. Tom swam through the cave with an underwater flashlight to show some of the features.
Diving that happens off the coast here, and a lot of jagged cliffs. We are anchored. There you can see one mast there kind of sticking up. We're just to the left of them around there in that bay. So very cool. Took the dinghy into a little cut in a tunnel. It takes you to what they call the inland sea, which was a little smaller than we thought, but still kind of cool. And it is, you can kind of see the sloping cliffs down there. It's down inside on the other side of that building there. Bunch of little sort of basic boathouses that people use either for their own use or to have tour boats go out of there. A lot of diving activity. And we're going to do a little snorkeling on the way out.
It's coming down into the inland sea. You can see this, like it's like a huge crater eroded out of this area. And over there is the exit, the tunnel through the rock there out to the ocean. Almost like a moonscape here. It's just so devoid of vegetation.
We take the dinghy back through the tunnel and anchor near a popular dive site. There is an underwater arch, which is just beautiful. Knowing the approaching high winds would likely keep us on board the boat for a couple days, we went ashore to have dinner the previous night. As we walked back to the cove edge in the pitch-black darkness, we gingerly made our way down the cliffs to our awaiting dinghy. The closer we got to the circular bay, the more we heard this crazy sound. Back on the boat, we laid on the bow for over an hour listening to these nocturnal creatures. It was otherworldly and so fascinating.
We are spending the day waiting out high winds in Dwardra Bay, and there were 4 of us here last night, 4 sailboats. Right now we just got this one other guy from Poland, who I met briefly. And we're both rolling and rocking a lot here. You can see out there what the whitecaps are doing. The waves crashing against the rock. And it takes a little bit of timing when you're walking around down below to try to use the rocking of the boat to your advantage rather than to your disadvantage. But it's still the best place to be, we think. There a boat that left this morning that was rolling a lot when they got out past the entrance there. So we're happy here. We've double checked our anchor. We let a little more line out. We added what I call my storm snubber, long snubber, about 10 meters long. So it's got some good stretch to it. And checked to make sure our anchor was dug in, so that's all set. So now it's just kind of a day of being on the boat. I tried to go ashore to go for a run, but it was a little tricky. It seemed like it was going to be a little tricky to land the dinghy, so we abandoned that idea. And we're going to be doing stuff on the boat today, projects and what have you.
Okay, it is just about sunset here, and we still have lots of waves crashing on the rocks outside of us. It feels like it's calming down a little bit. We can hardly feel much wind at all. It's only like 4 or 5 knots in here, but we know it has to be a lot stronger outside. This poor guy's boat is tossing and turning quite a bit. Ours is a little bit more stable. Over here I've been watching, you wonder how these caves are made, and surely as you watch all this water pound into those holes and all, you can get a pretty clear idea of how it happens. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notified of new videos. Well, lots of people watching the sunset. You can see a couple out on the point there. A whole group up on the hill over here. And something we just noticed with the pink pink sunset is the beautiful cliffs here. The color of the sunset is being reflected on these cliffs, and it's just stunning. There's some pinks and oranges, and it's a pretty amazing place. We are literally in a round of rocks. All right. Life is good.
Well, that's a wrap on Malta. In all, we spent about a week here. It is definitely a country you could spend more time at, but we have a long way to go this summer, so each stop will be somewhat abbreviated. From here, we follow the southern coast of Sicily to the Egadi Islands on the western point, before making our next big jump to the southern tip of Sardinia. Thanks for watching!